to share with you something that really grinds my gears, and it can be so detrimental if you have arthritis. And those are the words that are being spoken to you by a doctor, by a surgeon, or by another healthcare professional. Even sometimes family and friends can be guilty of this. And there are 10 things that I have heard from actual clients, actual people with osteoarthritis that they were told, and my mind has been completely blown. I am so shocked that people are actually told these things. Now, I'm telling you these things. So one, if you were told any of these things, there is hope, because I'm going to tell you these 10 things and also then what we can do about them or how we should think about them. But also, if you are just freshly diagnosed with osteoarthritis, or you know someone that's newly diagnosed and they are going to be going to see a doctor, see a surgeon, I want you to be aware of these things beforehand, so that way you can advocate for yourself. You can push for more options. You can hear these things and know what to do about them or what to ask about. So these 10 things are super important. And I want you to listen to the end, because all 10 are extremely important and all 10 are very commonly heard. So make sure you don't miss out on any of these. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to go through all 10 of these and then also give you a little bit of tidbit information on how you should respond or why these things are wrong. Number one, my people commonly with knee osteoarthritis have been told no more squats, which this one is honestly one of the most surprising, because you have to squat in daily life. How do you get up and down from a chair? How do you get in and out of a car? How do you get up and down from the toilet? Squatting is not necessarily an option. And there are actually thousands of ways that we can help to make squats feel so much better for our joints. That is like the number one thing that we always work on, is squatting. Because if you can squat without pain, you can enjoy your life so much more. But when you tell someone no more squats, you become fearful of it. So maybe you hesitate when sitting down to a chair, or you automatically have pain because you know it's something you shouldn't be doing, maybe because you think it's causing more damage or something along those lines. So no more squats is not true. I've had people with bone-on-bone knee pain being able to squat in tolerable pain levels and be able to actually feel 100% confident doing it. So it is possible. So don't let anyone tell you no more squats. We just have to figure out a way to make squats less painful for you. Just lose weight and exercise. This is one of the most frustrating things and infuriating things that people can hear when you're dealing with chronic pain, that just simply lose weight and exercise, like it's insinuating it's very easy to do. When in reality, losing weight, I know that if you're watching this, you maybe have tried to lose weight at some point in your life, and it has not been easy. And this can be very, very frustrating because you're not usually given a plan. It's, just go lose weight and exercise and your pain will go away. Without a plan, this is very, very unsuccessful. And it's honestly just finding things that are going to work for you as far as decreasing your inflammation. That is why losing weight and exercise are going to be helpful for arthritis pain. So if we can find ways to decrease inflammation, there is a blog post down below that has 15 ways to decrease inflammation. That is a much better way to think about decreasing your arthritis pain besides just losing weight and exercise. Figure out 2 to 3 ways that you can reduce inflammation, and that will help to reduce your arthritis pain significantly. So that blog post is down below. But remember, keep watching, because I want you to see all 10 of these first. All right, next one. So this was actually from a woman who really liked weightlifting. She does actually a lot of powerlifting and does amazing with it. But when she was first diagnosed with arthritis, they told her, just walk. That's good enough for your age, which can be really demeaning, especially if you like doing higher impact exercise, you like lifting weights, you like hiking or skiing or doing these other higher impact activities, but then you're just told, hey, just walk. That's good enough for you. which if they don't know anything about your fitness background or your likes or what you want to actually do, this can be hard to hear. I've had people that really enjoy running, that really enjoy lifting weights and really enjoy exercising aside from just walking, but then they're told this. And so you're actually discouraging people of doing these other things. And if you've listened to anything that I've put out, variety is extremely important when you have arthritis, especially if you do like walking, you have to add some other variety. So this is discouraging that variety right from the get-go and can actually increase your pain. So if you were ever told that you just need to walk, know that there are other ways, other things you can do in order to actually help your arthritis pain. And I have tons of exercise videos that we can take you through. There are tons and tons of arthritis-friendly movements aside from walking that can be very beneficial. So if you're ever told that, I would explore some other options and even ask for a referral for physical therapy. Like, I actually enjoy walking, but I'd really like to get stronger and feel more confident. Can I have a referral for physical therapy? Or find someone else you trust. And you can also reach out to us because I have tons and tons of resources for you. All right, number 4, it's just arthritis. It is so frustrating to hear that, especially if you're having chronic pain, it's become debilitating, it's impacting your life. Oh, it's just arthritis. Arthritis can be very, very debilitating, and it can negatively impact your life, especially if it gets to those points where it's really severe. So kind of dismissing that or feeling like you're not being listened to is not the way to go. And especially if you're a healthcare professional, that is not the thing that you should be telling patients, because that can just be kind of a stab to the heart. Like, am I making this pain up? Is this not real? Is there something I should be doing? Like, why is it just arthritis? Discounting those symptoms can feel very, very frustrating. If you were to hear this, it's just arthritis. Instead, it's okay, here's what arthritis is, and here's what is actually causing your pain, and then here's how we can fix that. Instead of just assuming that they don't know anything about it and assuming that, it's just super simple and, they're not doing the right things for it, we have to kind of take an understanding. And so if you were ever told this, I want you to understand that osteoarthritis is real and it can cause debilitating pain when we're not on the right path for treatment. So the first thing is finding out what osteoarthritis is. But I don't want you to go searching the internet, because all you see is degeneration, you see deterioration, all these negative things about arthritis. I'm going to put a link down below to a video that's going to give you what the lowdown on what osteoarthritis is and what you actually need to know. So after this video, I'm going to have a resource for every single one of these things if you're told that. So I want you to click the description and then you'll see all the things that you need to know for each one of these. Stop exercising because it's going to help to save your joints. And this is where some of the wear and tear principle comes from. So a lot of times previously, before all this new research and things have been coming out, osteoarthritis was seen as a wear and tear condition, meaning the more wear that you put on your joints, the more tear or damage that you'll get. But that has been dispelled in so many different research studies that it's not necessarily just the more you move, the more you're going to damage your joint. Movement can actually be extremely beneficial. But then when you tell people to rest in order to save your joints, that's actually discouraging people from exercise. Exercise is hard and movement is hard enough as it is with arthritis. And then we're told something like this: we need to save our joints. I have one gal that I was working with who she essentially gave up everything. She even limited walking around her house and going up and down the stairs because she thought that the more pain the even just a twinge of pain that she was feeling, that was causing more damage. Or the more that she was on her joints, that caused more damage. She was in her early 50s and loved playing tennis and pickleball and all these things, hiking, before she was diagnosed with arthritis. But then she was told, you just need to rest, you just need to save your joints. So she stopped everything. And in reality, that made her pain worse. And so it's just finding the right movements and the right exercises for your joints. Movements that aren't going to flare up your pain. That is the number one thing we need to do here instead of just resting. Resting is honestly one of the worst things you can do unless you're in a really severe pain flare-up, or there are certain circumstances, very limited circumstances, where rest is appropriate. But rest is almost never the answer. So we have to challenge ourselves to find other answers. Okay, I know that movement can actually be really good for it. So is there a way I can find movement that can be very beneficial? And if the doctor isn't able to, or the surgeon or whoever isn't able to give you answers for that, I have tons of answers for you on that. So don't just accept that as an answer. You can find other avenues, and I have a million. Surgery is the only way. So for number 6, this can lead to premature surgeries. This can lead to unnecessary surgeries. And this can actually lead you to believe that nothing else will work for you. So there are lots of people that get premature surgeries or really feel like they're just kind of lost and don't have any other options. There are actually other options for arthritis pain relief, and I do have a blog post on this, that if you are considering surgery, I want you to read this decision making. So I help people make decisions for surgery all the time. And it's not necessarily as simple as, are you having pain? Okay, yes, surgery is the answer. There's lots of other things to think about, like, do you have the right support system? Or do you have someone who can stay with you when you are recovering? Are you ready to do the 3 to 6 months of intense physical therapy and recovery? And there are lots of things to think about with surgery in order for you to be successful. But surgery shouldn't be the first line attempt at pain relief. There are lots of other things you can do to manage your inflammation that's going to manage your symptoms. Now, I have a lot of people who, thought that surgery was their only option. And I have one person who a surgeon was ready to do surgery. Then we started working together and she realized that she didn't need surgery and that she can actually live her life without going through and taking on these risks of surgery. By just doing simple movements, finding the right plan for exercise, and then also changing eating habits and other small things like that, sleeping, because there's more that goes into it than just, let's give you a new joint. Because sometimes even getting a new joint and you don't have an exercise plan, you're eating not so great, your pain may not go away. So it's not a guarantee. And so there are some important things to think about. Now, obviously, some people are appropriate for surgery, and I totally get that. But I want you to know that you have options, and I want you to have the information so you can make an informed decision. So you don't feel like you're just kind of making a decision just because somebody told you that that's what you need. All right, number 7, stop lifting weights. Again, this kind of goes into the discouraging people from exercise, but actually lifting weights, that's like saying, so if there are certain foods that are flaring up your pain, well, maybe you should just stop eating. I mean, it's a very general, like there are so many exercises you can do lifting weights. There's not just a few and you just have to avoid them. Lifting weights can be extremely beneficial, and I almost recommend every single person to lift weights with arthritis. Now, obviously, you need to master body weight type things first, master the simpler exercises before we go start picking up some weights. But I have almost everyone I see lift weights in some capacity. And it's not necessarily like picking up a huge barbell and, doing those sorts of movements. Even just 8, 10, 15 pound weights can make a huge difference. One of the clients I had who was dealing with some degenerative disc disease and some back pain, actually lifting weights helped him push through a plateau of pain. He no longer has back spasms and can actually lift like a 25 or 30 pound weight. which he never thought he would be able to do. But it's not only that you can lift weights, but now he can climb stairs without pain. He can pick up his grandchildren without pain. Because if you're not lifting weights, but then you have to be able to pick up your 20, 30, 40 pound grandchild or your 10, 20 pound laundry basket or a box or something, we need to be able to prepare for that, because when you try to do that, it's probably not going to feel good. But if you're training with these weights, those things will probably feel good and you'll feel more confident about it. Lifting weights is extremely important, but you have to be able to understand how to do it properly. And so in the Arthritis Adventure Blueprint, I have a 10 exercise series of things that you can do, and it's going to show you exactly how to work up to lifting weights, and they're all follow along exercises with me. So that's in the Arthritis Adventure Blueprint, which is our signature program, and that's going to be down below as well. Okay, so keep on going. We are on number 8. So you're just getting older. Arthritis is just common. This pain is normal, which it's like a red flag should be going off in your mind if you hear this. Because I had someone actually just come to me who was told this exact thing, and she was 35. So there's really no boundary. There's really no limit of what is considered older. And pain is not normal. I know 80, 90-year-olds who don't have pain. They do probably have some degree of arthritis, and because it's just, pretty normal at that point to just have some aging in your joints, but it doesn't necessarily need to mean pain. I know people who are bone on bone considered by their x-ray, but don't have any pain. And so don't let somebody tell you that this pain is normal, that it's just because you're getting older, so just kind of be careful. No, you can thrive with this, and you can do anything you want to if you have arthritis, if you set your mind to it, and if you dedicate yourself to the process. I've had people run again. I've had people hike again, backpack again, do these things that they really never thought they could do again. And when this woman was 35, I want to be able to keep up with my kids. I want to be able to enjoy life with my kids. But if I'm just getting older, what's my future going to look like if I look like this now? And so it's taking action and really finding those action steps to be able to control this inflammation. Controlling inflammation is the number one thing. And so if you were told this, no, we're not going to accept age as being a limiter in this. I just want a couple of ways I can manage my inflammation. And you can see what they say that, okay, age aside, is there anything I can do to manage this inflammation? And if they don't really give you an answer, I got you covered. So that blog post below. But managing inflammation is kind of the first step in finding pain relief. All right, we have 2 more, so stick with me because these are some of the most common ones and can be some of the most frustrating and debilitating. Okay, next one, no running. And this is a very common fallacy with arthritis, is that, well, I probably shouldn't run because I do want to save my joints, or that wear and tear mentality of it's probably going to make my joints worse. There have been lots of studies that have actually shown that and put people through a recreational running program where they ran a few miles each week, and then they took x-rays before and after. And there was actually no more joint space narrowing than when they started. There was no more cartilage loss than when they started. And they actually found that there was pain relief when they finished. So it's building that confidence, making sure your joints are ready for it. And when someone comes to me and they want to get back to running, it's okay, how can we get your joints ready for it? And that's through strengthening, that's through power movements, that's through confidence and pain relief. And there's lots of things that goes into running that can make it possible. So you don't necessarily have to dream small because of an arthritis diagnosis, that no more running, no more higher impact, no more jumping, these sorts of things. It is actually possible to run again with arthritis. We just have to figure out a way to get your joints ready for it. And this can be a very, very hard thing at first to kind of conceptualize. So I did a podcast with Brody Sharp, who is also a PT, and we talked about how you can kind of overcome this obstacle and then how you can actually take steps to learn how to run again. And so I'll link that video down below. Now, number 10. This is one that irks me to my core when I have someone that comes to me and says that they were told this. This is the worst arthritis I've ever seen, either at your age or in your joint or all these things, something after it. Like, this is the worst arthritis I've ever seen. This is the worst arthritis I've seen at your age. And this can make you feel so horrible about this diagnosis. That, wow, if this is the worst that he's ever seen and he or she has ever seen, and I just don't know what to do at this point. Like, this is when premature surgeries tend to be the go-to, just because it seems to be the easier option. That, well, if this is the worst if he's ever seen, she's ever seen, then there's really probably no up from here. Like, I need to actually go in and get surgery to just get a new joint. And this can be very, very limiting to your options going forward. So if you're told, this is the worst I've ever seen, likely you're probably going to think that nothing's going to work besides surgery. That, how can I come out of this, or how can I overcome this if it's so severe right now? And again, it's trying those things to reduce inflammation. And if you were ever told this, and a lot of times it can be based on x-rays, it can be based on things that the doctor sees, or the surgeon or the healthcare professional, when we can't necessarily base the disease severity on an x-ray alone. It's also symptoms, it's also the things that you're doing to drive up inflammation. So there's lots that goes into it just besides looking at an x-ray and saying, wow. Because there have been studies that people have had the same looking x-ray, one has pain, one doesn't. Okay, so what's driving that pain if they have the same x-ray? That's where we come into inflammation, and maybe you're just really driving up your inflammation that's causing that irritation. So in that case, we need to find a way to reduce that inflammation. So if you were ever told, hey, this is the worst I've ever seen, you can say, okay, what is kind of leading you to thinking that? And if it's, if they just give the x-ray as a reason, then that's not particularly a reason for having it be the worst they've ever seen. So you can say, okay, well, are there any things that we can maybe try first before we go to surgery, or before I'm referred to a surgeon? Are there some steps that I can take? And again, if they don't necessarily give you a reason, or if they just say something like lose weight and exercise or things like that, then don't just accept that as the answer. Because like I said, I have you covered as far as other options and things. So please do not make rash decisions until you feel confident about the decision that you're making. There are people who get through a qualitative research study I was just looking at. There are people who get surgery simply because they trust their doctor. They don't really know what to expect. They don't really know the side effects. They don't really know what the recovery is going to look like. But because their doctor told them, hey, you should probably get surgery, they just get it just based off that opinion. And so this is one thing to really kind of think about and challenge any healthcare provider you see when you're told any of these things. If you're told any of these 10 things, or if you have been told, I want you to put it down in the notes, in the comment section below, because the more that we can shed light on these things, the more we can advocate for ourselves in these appointments or in these conversations, because that's where we can unlock the other options. That's where we can unlock a two-way street, because a lot of times we don't really know what questions to ask or where to go with this conversation when these things are brought up. But now hopefully you have some talking points, and if you have been told this and you've already had the conversation with the doctor, the surgeon, or whoever, and now you're just kind of feeling hopeless because of some of these things, Now we have a little bit more hope as far as what you can do in these situations. So if you have ever been told any one of these things, I want you to click the description below, because I'm going to tell you what people were told and then the resource right underneath it. So that way, if you were told number 2 or number 4 or number 8, then you can go down in the description and see the appropriate resource that can truly help you. Now, if you are feeling lost in this arthritis journey, you don't really know where to go, you don't necessarily know how you can reverse this or how you can prevent the progression, I have a 5 secrets guide that you can use to start reversing your osteoarthritis. Now, although there's no cure, there are things you can do to reverse the severity of your symptoms, and you can thrive with arthritis, but you have to start with this guide. And so I'm going to put a link to that as well, because I want you to download that and see these 5 things to truly start to see some hope. So keep the adventure alive. We are all about hope. And so if you've been told any of these 10 things, I want to know about it and I want to help you through it. So go ahead and throw it in the comments below of things that you may have heard. We're trying to change the narrative of arthritis to a hopeless condition to something you can actually do something about. All right, I hope this was helpful. If you do like this video or found it helpful, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel below, and that way we can help and reach so many more people. All right, have a good one.